Ray Bradbury's The Pedestrian. To enter out into the silence that was the city at 8 o'clock of a misty evening in November, to put your feet upon the buckling concrete walk, to step over grassy seams and make your way, hands in pockets, through the silences. That was what Mr. Leonard Mead most dearly loved to do. He would stand upon the corner of an intersection and peer down long moonlit avenues of sidewalk in four directions, deciding which way to go. But it really made no differences. He was alone in this world of 1953, or as good of alone, and with a final decision made, a path selected, he would stride off, sending patterns of frosty air before him like smoke from a cigar. Sometimes he would walk for hours and miles and return only at midnight to his house. And on his way he would see cottages and homes with their dark windows, and it was not unequal to walking through a graveyard where only the faintest glimmers of firefly light appeared in flickers behind the windows. Sudden gray phantoms seemed to manifest upon inner room walls where a curtain was still undrawn against the night, or maybe there were whisperings and murmurs where a window in a tomb-like building was still open. Mr. Leonard Mead would pause, cock his head, listen, look, march on, his feet making no noise on the lumpy walk, for long ago he had wisely changed to sneakers when strolling at night, because the dogs in intermittent squads would parallel his journey with barkings if he wore hard heels. Lights might click on and faces appear, and an entire street be startled by the passing of a lone figure, himself, in the early November evening. On this particular evening, he was beginning his journey in a westerly direction, toward the hidden sea. There was a good crystal frost in the air, and it cut the nose and made the lungs blaze like a Christmas tree inside. You could feel the cold snow. You could feel the cold light going on and off, and all the branches filled with invisible snow. He listened to the faint push of his soft shoes through autumn leaves with satisfaction, and whistled a cold, quiet whistle between his teeth, occasionally picking up a leaf as he passed, examining its skeletal pattern in the infrequent lamplight as he went on, smelling its rusty smell. "Hello in there," he whispered to every house on every side as he moved. "What's up tonight on Channel 4? Channel 7? Channel 9? Where are the cowboys rushing, and do I see the United States cavalry up over the next hill to the rescue?" The street was silent and long and empty, with only his shadow moving like the shadow of a hawk in mid-country. If he closed his eyes and stood very still, frozen, he could imagine himself on the center of a plain, a wintry, windless Arizona desert with no house in 1,000 miles, and only a dry riverbed, the streets for company. "What is it now?" he asked the houses, noticing his wristwatch. 8:30 p.m.? Time for a dozen assorted murders? A quiz? A review? A comedian falling off the stage? What was that murmur of laughter from within a moon-white house? He hesitated, but he went on when nothing more happened. He stumbled over a particularly uneven section of sidewalk. The cement was vanishing under flowers and grass. In 10 years of walking by night or by day for thousands of miles, he had never met another person walking, not one in all that time. He came to a cloverleaf intersection which stood silent where two main highways crossed the town. During the day it was a thunderous surge of cars, the gas stations open, a great insect rustling, a ceaseless jockeying for position as the scarab beetles, a faint, intense puttering from their exhausts, skimmed homeward towards far directions. But now, even these highways too were like streams in a dry season, all stone and bed and moonlight radiance. He turned back on a wide street, circling around toward his home. He was within a block of his destination when the lone car, it turned a corner, quite suddenly and flashed a fierce white cone of light upon him. He stood entranced, not unlike a night moth stunned by the illumination, and then drawn towards it. A metallic voice called out to him, "Stand still. Stay where you are. Don't move." So he halted. "Put up your hands." "But—" "Your hands up, or we'll shoot." The police, of course. But what a rare and incredible thing. In a city of 3 million, there was only one police car left. Wasn't that correct? Ever since a year ago, in 2052, the election year, the force had been cut from 3 cars to 1. Crime was ebbing, and there was no need now for the police, save for this one lone car wandering and wandering up and down the empty streets. "Your name?" the police car said in its metallic whisper. He couldn't see the men in it for the bright light in his eyes. "Leonard Mead." "Speak up." "Leonard Mead." "Business or profession?" "I guess you'd call me a writer." "No profession," the police car said, as if talking to itself. The light held him transfixed, like a museum specimen. Needle stuck right through his chest. "You might say that," said Mr. Mead. He hadn't written anything in 10 years. Magazines and books didn't sell anymore. Everything went on into tomb-like houses at night now. He continued his fancy inside. The tombs ill-lit by television light where the people sat like the dead. The gray or multicolored lights touching their faces, but never really touching them. "No professions. What are you doing out?" "Walking," said Leonard. "Walking? Just walking." "Walking, just walking, walking?" "Yes, sir." "Walking where? For what?" "Walking for air. Walking to sea." "Your address?" 11 South St. James Street. "And there is air in your house? You have air conditioner, Mr. Mead?" "Yes." "And you have a viewing screen in your house to see with?" "No." "No?" This was followed by a crackling quiet that in itself was an accusation. "Are you married, Mr. Mead?" "No, not married." The moon was high and clear among the stars, and the houses were gray and silent. "Nobody wanted me." Leonard Mead offered this with a smile. "Don't speak unless you're spoken to." Leonard Mead had waited in the cold light. "Just walking, Mr. Mead?" "Yes." "But you haven't explained for what purpose." "I did explain. For air, and to see, and to just walk." "Have you done this often?" "Every night for 10 years. The police car sat in the center of the street with its radio throat faintly humming. "Well, Mr. Mead, is that all?" "Yes, here." There was a sigh and a pop, and the back door of the police car sprang wide open. "Get in." "Wait a minute. I haven't done anything." "Get in." "I protest." "Mr. Mead." He walked like a man suddenly drunk. As he passed the front window of the car, he looked in. As he had expected, there was no one on the front seat. No one in the car at all. "Get in." He pushed his hand to the door and peered into the back seat, which was a little cell. A little black jail with bars. It smelled of riveted steel. It smelled of harsh antiseptic. It smelled too clean and hard and metallic. There was nothing soft there. "Now if you had a wife to give you an alibi, but—" "Where are you taking me?" There was a hesitation, or rather, a faint whirring click, as if information somewhere was dropping in by card punch slotted card under electric eyes. To the Psychiatric Center for Research on Regressive Tendencies. He got in. The door shut with a soft thud. The police car rolled through the night avenues, flashing its dim lights ahead. They passed one house on one street a moment later. One house in an entire city of houses that were dark, but this one in particular had all of its electric lights brightly lit. Every window had a loud yellow illumination, square and warm in the cool darkness. "That's my house," said Leonard Mead. No one answered him. The car moved down the empty riverbed streets and off away, leaving the empty streets with the empty sidewalks and no sound and no motion and all the rest of the chill of that November night. Thank you for joining me, friends.